Have you ever wondered what the term Black excellence means and what it actually implies? Whenever I've seen the term Black excellence be used, it's always tied to something like either having a high income, being a person with a lot of influence, or someone who's like some sort of big entrepreneur. They just open something up, you know? Essentially, a lot of times when I've seen hashtag Black excellence is tied to winning the game of capitalism, essentially. Now, I have seen it in other cases, of course, people who graduate. Black graduates, I've seen it for them. Black teachers, I've seen it for them as well. That's not a very, very high income job, but it's still very prestigious. It kind of ties to, having influence because teachers can be very, very influential. And for clarity, there's nothing wrong with being a Black entrepreneur, starting your business. There's nothing wrong with having a high income job. There's nothing wrong with being a person that's gotten a lot of influence. So there's nothing wrong with the label of hashtag Black excellence being tied to those people, but it seems to, outside of students, really only be tied to them, folks who essentially won capitalism. Now, we do live in that type of society. We live in a society where there's going to be basically winners and losers, and some jobs are going to be more prestigious than others. When we think about the term excellence or the word excellence, the way we use it, it means to basically to excel, right? To be at a step above others, for lack of a better term. What does that imply then? Does that imply that people who are not at more of a prestigious profession, people who don't have influence, people who may not be students, are they no longer excellent? Can they now excel in other parts that don't get recognized now? Because when we think about single mothers, for example, mothers who've done everything that they can for their child and who are very, very good mothers, we don't exactly tie Black excellence to that, do we? As a matter of fact, there's a lot of criticism of Black mothers. Very, very strange. We don't talk about the fathers, but there's a lot of criticism of Black mothers, or single Black mothers, I should say. And even speaking of fathers, when we see a father doing what he can for his children, things that he's supposed to do, we're not saying that they're not supposed to do it, or they should get brownie points for doing what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to go ahead and take care of their children, but there are fathers out there who go above and beyond, who are amazing fathers. There are stepfathers who are amazing stepfathers who come into their child life and rear them and help them be the person that they are to that day or in the future. We don't exactly tie excellence to those people either. We usually say the bare minimum. And in the case of stepfathers, simp. But why though? Why is the mother who either lost the father, he's either unfortunately passed away, or he's in jail, or she got with someone that, got out the draws, and unfortunately she has a child now and she has to do what she has to do. How come everything that she does, everything that she can do, and basically excelling in life despite her drawbacks, why isn't that excellent? Why isn't the father who goes above and beyond for his daughter or his son, why doesn't that person get hashtag Black excellence? Is Black excellence only winning the game of capitalism? Now, I want to point out two things. Number one, I don't think Black capitalism is going to save us. There's actually a video out there by a content creator called Lil Bill. I'll either post it somewhere up here or in the description or in the comments. I'll pin it so y'all can watch that video. It's about an hour long. It's pretty long, but he basically goes through the explanation of why thinking Black capitalism, just support Black businesses, bro, and think Black, bro, that ain't gonna save us. Black capitalism ain't gonna do nothing for us. Jay-Z and Rihanna ain't gonna save us, y'all. Winning the game of capitalism, I don't tie that to Black excellence mostly. As I said, there's nothing wrong with doing those things. There's nothing wrong with high income. There's nothing wrong with being a Black entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with Black enterprise. Those things are important. But I don't tie Black excellence to only those things. And I don't believe it should be tied to only those things. The second thing I want to point out is that we kind of already know this. Do y'all remember LLC Twitter? I know y'all remember that. The people who will say, hey, start your LLC, get a $50,000 loan from it, and then from there you can get a business line credit of $50 bajillion and pass that on to your children, and then you use that to buy a Komodo dragon. You feel me? Remember those people? Yeah, I remember those people, right? Those folks were extremely annoying, and they still exist on the internet in somehow, some ways. They're pivoting more to right-wing conservative talking points, which I kind of always knew they would do. But those folks were extremely annoying, right? Because what would we say about those people? We would tell them, hey, y'all, not everybody can start an LLC. Not everybody has the mindset to own and operate a business. And the most important part, not everybody wants to do that. There are plenty of people out there that just want to wake up, clock in, clock out for lunch, clock back in, clock out at 5, come home, take care of their kids, watch TV. They're content with that. That's all they want to do. Now, I understand that the term excellence or the word excellence is tied more to doing more than that. But if we could understand that not everybody can be an LLC, bro, so we shouldn't be pushing everybody to be that. Why can't we also understand that this concept of Black excellence that we're putting a box in to only these prestigious or high influential things, to only putting it in that box, that not everybody can do that either. And honestly, not everybody should do that. Not everybody should have influence. Because who's a Black person that has influence and most of us don't want to follow her? Candace Owens. Most of us will not put hashtag Black excellence on Candace Owens, but she's extremely successful. She's had several TV shows. She has millions of subscribers possibly. She could influence a whole group of people. She's married, has I think 2 or 3 children by now. If Candace Owens didn't have her politics, we would put hashtag Black excellence on her. But why don't we? Because it seems that the influence that she has is more negative towards us than it is positive, doesn't it? So internally, we understand this concept. We understand that this nebulous Black excellence thing, it can't really apply to every situation, and it shouldn't really apply. So I think during this Black History Month, we should really refine this concept of what we think excellence is. I don't really have all the solutions, but usually when I think of Black excellence or hashtag Black excellence, I'm not just going to say that it's the people who just basically kind of just won at capitalism. I think my mom also represents Black excellence. She's been a nurse for 30 years. She's never wanted to be a nursing manager, but she's the best on that floor. And every single time I walk into that hospital, to pick her up and drop her home, and I ask them, yo, my mom's at? They'd be like, oh, the best nurse on the floor, she's right over there. But she doesn't want to be a manager. She doesn't want to own any businesses. But she still represents Black excellence because she's the best at what she does. That 15-year-old who dropped that pizza to your house the other day and gave you some good service and said, yes, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, and walked away with a smile on his face, he's also Black excellence. That little girl who knocked on your door because she's selling cookies and chocolates to go on a school field trip, she's also Black excellence. There are people who do not really represent Black excellence, but I believe that if you're trying your hardest, if you're trying your best, and you're not putting any negative, undue pressure or undue influence on anybody else, you can also represent excellence. But that's my thoughts on it. I want to know y'all thoughts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all the support. Dark is beautiful. And on that note, peace.